Here now to react is Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. I see, Senator, you got the memo about the color to wear, so we're nicely matched. We're twins tonight. This is, as we're watching this, it seems, it is like theater, but it seems literally unbelievable. What is your take on, certainly Ms. Rollins, but in general, the crime that is spiking all across the country?
Well, Tammy, it's tragic that a crime wave is crashing all across the country in places like Los Angeles and Boston. I can't believe the cavalier attitude of George S. Gunn to argue incorrectly that crime is down, except for murder. So unless you've been heinously murdered in Los Angeles, everything is just fine. That clip you showed from Rachael Rollins shows why she doesn't have the temperament to be a U.S. attorney, let alone her terrible record as the DA in Boston. As you said, she's ruled entire categories of crimes off limits, from breaking and entering and destruction of property and drug possession with intent to distribute and resisting arrest. These two are part of a broad and disturbing trend of what's called Soros prosecutors around the country. Prosecutors who have been backed by George Soros and other liberal billionaires who have an ideological belief that our criminal justice system is racist and needs to be dismantled. What happened this week in the U.S. Senate is the first time in 42 years that there was a recorded vote on a U.S. attorney. Typically, we grant a lot of deference to the president and the senators and the two senators from the state, but I put my foot down and said I wasn't going to allow that to happen on this one. Every Democratic senator needed to go on the record. That includes Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire, a state that is dealing with a terrible opioid problem. 80% of the drugs in New Hampshire come from Massachusetts. She just voted to make Rachael Rollins the chief law enforcement officer of the federal government in Massachusetts. Maggie Hassan is going to answer for that to the voters of the Granite State next fall.
Excellent, because this is going to be a disaster. And you know, there's so much talent in the country. To deliberately choose someone who is so unsuited for such an important position is remarkable. And there is this commitment, you know, all it does with the Soros approach, the far left, and wanting chaos, it seems to me that they have believed, they felt, that this would aid them in either growing government or getting elected. You think that's possible, that this is actually, because everything they do seems to be attached to the politics of it, that this is now backfiring? Are they seeing that?
Well, there's no doubt that these Soros prosecutors in the far left puts ideology up before people. And what happens, you get a wake of destruction and death. Look in San Francisco, where you have one of the most notorious Soros prosecutors, Chesa Boudin. The city is virtually unlivable. The looting is now so well organized that the gangs are breaking into the Home Depot first to steal all the hammers and the crowbars, and then they go to the jewelry store and the electronics store to break in using the hammers and the crowbars.
Oh, gosh.
And he dismisses it. He dismisses it as low-level theft and shoplifting. That's why even in liberal San Francisco, Nancy Pelosi's hometown, Chesa Boudin is going to face a recall election next year, and I bet he gets recalled by people who are fed up with this soft-on-crime approach.
Gascon in Los Angeles is facing that as well. It's imperative that people in these communities at least take action to try to take this back and to make, you know, people make mistakes. People get lied to by politicians, but no one wants this. There is no community. You could be a totally deep blue Democrat. You don't want people in L.A. now. They're doing the follow home robberies where they watch you shop and then they follow you home and then you go in there. And in one case, a very prominent philanthropist, a well-known loved woman was murdered, an elderly woman murdered in her home by these follow home robbers.
Murder and robbery and rape and theft, they don't have a partisan affiliation.
No.
They affect everyone equal. So in all these cities, if they have recall opportunities, they need to recall their prosecutors. If any of them are elevated to the federal government, I can assure you that it will pull out all the stops to stop their nominations from going forward.
Excellent. Well, thank you, sir, and thank you for all your work, and Merry Christmas to you. Appreciate you joining us. Now,